So we are back on a magnificent Monday. This is, my name is Benny Ferguson. This is a consciousness ascending presentation. This is, I think, episode 53 of Accelerating Your Journey. We have offered a number, now 53 of these sessions, um, each one being unique, each one being fantastic in its own right, especially with the interactions, the conversations. It cannot be duplicated. It cannot be understated, the power of interaction in the moment. Yes, those of you who participate, support us with your energy, with your vibration, the connection. As the energies intermingle in these type interactions and workshops and things that we host, as the energies intermingle, that which we are inspired to communicate on and share is often in direct relationship to the challenges and the happenings that we perceive in the energies that you are offering. And that's how you support us in the creation of these type interactions. Again, it cannot be understated the power of your support, your vibrational, energetic interaction, that what happens between us in the creation of these type interactions. That, again, the power of getting your questions answered in the moment based on what your life experience has presented to you. It's so powerful. It's powerful to be able to get your questions answered. That's how you get unstuck quickly. And days, weeks, months go by and you're still stuck in the same position, not having had that breakthrough moment yet because of lack of consistency and because of not having access to a high level of support. And that's what we're trying to offer here as best we can through this mechanism. Now, if you check the description, we also offer private sessions, which are powerful for getting unstuck in any fashion that you may find yourself in the present moment. And then beyond that is the private community, where you are permanently and consistently in connection with us and with others who are on the same path, who have chosen to accept that level of responsibility and that level of support. That is what truly accelerates the process. The support in your being consistent, the ability to get your questions answered, the facilitation. That's what accelerates the process for you. Not a technique, not a process, because techniques and processes come and go as you grow and develop. And your inner being guides you to new processes, new techniques affecting the same things, affecting your vibration or your consistent offering as an energy, as a frequency, and affecting the contents of your mind, the adjusting, the transforming of your mental framework. These are the two areas that are constantly being affected by techniques and processes. But just like anything else, if you stay with a single technique or process, you become numb to it. The mind does the same thing as the body. If you take the same medicine over and over again, the body becomes numb to it. Once upon a time when Benny was little, he would take medicine for his allergies. He stopped taking medicine, never really believed, so he hasn't taken medicine in years for it. Just makes other adjustments. But if you take an allergy medicine long enough, your body becomes numb to the antibiotic in it. So you have to switch to a different one in order to get the same effect. Well, your mind has always worked that way. You can have the most beautiful flowers in front of your home or in front of your job that you're able to see every day. There will be a point when you stop seeing it because you become numb to it, because you become used to it. And that's why your techniques, processes that you're inspired to change, to keep the practice fresh. And that's also why techniques and processes are not the answer. Consistency is the answer, but we went down a path there. We went down a path there. We hope it makes sense, and we hope you understand the priority of consistency and the power of a high level of consistent support, access to a high level of support that supports you in being consistent and moving quickly through it, to and through your next breakthrough, next breakthrough, next breakthrough. Getting unstuck in any moment based on any challenge that has revealed itself, not even a challenge, but the next point that spurs you forward in your growth and development. We'll stop there. Check the description. Connect to our community. If you're new and you find value here, subscribe so that you can be alerted when we are up next or we upload new content. Become a part of the community so you can be aware of when we have these offerings and offerings off of this platform that allow you to be in more close contact with us, that we may be able to support you at an even higher level than on this platform. So, today we're talking about your economics are pure potential. So many of you are, if you could just squeak into a fraction of the abundance that's available to you, it would change everything, right? A fraction of the abundance that you see others experiencing, it would change everything. The only thing that's different between you and someone else who is experiencing in a way that you would like to experience is your inner makeup, and you have to figure that out. You have to figure out what it is that they're doing when it comes to that idea and how you are separate from what they're doing, who they are being more so. When you understand the integrative process and you look to who they are being when it comes to this specific experience that you would like to desire, because there's a difference between who they are being and who you are being if they are having an experience and you have yet to be able to have that experience. It's not an external thing, has nothing to do with work or availabilities or any of those things. It has to do completely with inner makeup, alignment, frequency, vibrational expression. Your economics are pure potential. The resources available to you are born of your beliefs. We've got a quick example, period, point blank, that Benny has seen and has affected him, helped him to grow and expand a little bit more and a little bit more. If you're in the United States, you are familiar with the idea of a Walmart. If you're not in the United States, we're sure you may have that idea, but we're sure you have some idea of a big store or a chain of stores that are highly successful. If that store is not open 24 hours, and even if it is, the clients, the customers that come through, it thins out drastically when the night hours come, because that's when most beings who are human, begin to rest and take their sleep. But in Benny's area, that store, it used to stay open 24 hours, but then after the COVID idea, it started closing, and it has continued to close at a certain time and then reopens at a certain time. When this store, those of you in the United States and have the Walmarts, you understand the bigness of that idea and the success of that idea. But when that store closes at night, understand that it's not a guarantee that anyone will show up the next day. As ridiculous as that sounds, it's not a guarantee. It's not a fact. It's not a truth that anyone will show up the next day. It's pure potential. It's pure potential. And most of you, that's kind of hitting you sideways at the moment. You're feeling resistance. You're feeling conflict to the truth. But it is the truth. It's not a guarantee. It's not a truth that anyone will show up to that store the next day after it opens. But so many believe that it's true, even you. So many believe that it's true that it sets it in stone that there will be. The owners Everyone that works that depends on the revenue from the sales to provide for their salaries and their wages, their lifestyles, their families, believe that there will be customers in the store the next day. And that's what drives it. Because there are many businesses out there that are starving for customers and that are hoping for customers. They open their doors, have the lights on, have employees and all these things, and no customers show up. No customers purchase in an entire 24-hour segment. And it's because their belief is not up to the level. Their belief wanes. Their belief is inconsistent. But the Walmart idea, it's not. And many other ideas. There's restaurants that have persisted for lifetimes. There are fast food restaurants that Benny has known since he was a child, and they continue to flourish. It's belief. It's expectation. These restaurants, the ones that close the next day, it's pure potential, whether they will have a customer or not. But it's also to them laughable that no one will interact with their business restaurant idea the next day. Laughable. Because their belief is so solid, their belief is so firm. The experience has proven over and over again that it has created a normal, it has created the belief, the idea of patronage and sales and revenues as a norm, as a truth inside of them. But in energy, it's not a truth. It's still pure potential. So let's bring this back to your individual life. The resources are available to you just like the resources are constantly, permanently being made available to the squirrel and the rabbit in your nature and all of the other animals that are not striving and going to work to have their needs met. It's pure potential. And it's based on your belief. Right now, if you look at your life and you examine your inner makeup in relationship to those ideas that you are desiring to see change or transformation in your experience. And since we're talking about economics, that's the title. Since we're talking about resources, let's talk about money. Let's talk about that idea that is intertwined with your value exchange. But let's don't stop there. Let's go even further to the idea that you believe you have been conditioned to believe there has to be an exchange, a physical exchange. It's not true. It doesn't have to be a physical exchange. That implies that unless there's an exchange, there's no receiving. Physical. Which goes even further to the value piece, that you must do something in order to be able to receive. You must be worthy because you did something to be able to receive. Do you see how if you keep going down the rabbit hole, the conditioning and the things tied to it show you why the separation is there? Because if you believe any of those things, and most of you do, you've been conditioned to those beliefs. If you believe any of those things, then they begin to become barriers that have to be crossed in order for you to be able to receive. If you don't have a job, there's no way you can have resources or money come into your life. Not true. The only way you can have resources or money come into your life is if you have a job. Not true. Resources, all of those things are constantly, permanently available. And if you're able to follow your inspirations, you can access them. If you believe that they are available. Right? Benny has a small group of people who are working on the idea of abundance at this moment, unraveling that idea. And they've been at it for a number of months now, and they are getting closer and closer to the experience because they are unraveling the conditioning that exists within them that is separating them from the idea of the flow of abundance. They are seeing that they are experiencing abundance in many, many ways that they haven't noticed because they've been so focused on the idea of an abundance of resources, an abundance of money, wanting to change their current experience, that they fail to see the many ways that they are experiencing abundance that has nothing to do with money or survival resources. But here's the power in that. Yes, they are identifying the resistance and the inner conflict to that idea, but also when you begin to identify those areas of your life where you are experiencing abundance, because the process is the same. Alignment is alignment. The inner creative process is the inner creative process. The faculties within the mind and body are the faculties within the mind and body, no matter what area you are working on, no matter what area you are trying to address, transform, or change for yourself, no matter what you are intending anew in the experience that you're trying to draw and create the momentum and draw to yourself, the process is the same. So when you identify an area of life that you are experiencing an abundance of, and you juxtapose that beside an area that you feel you are not experiencing, the type of abundance that you would like, because if you're talking about money and you're not having the experience that you would desire, then it's possible that you're experiencing an abundance of lack and scarcity and not an abundance of wealth. It's still abundance. What are you doing that's creating that experience? And you have been creating it probably for years. What are you doing? So when you look at an area where you are experiencing abundance, and you put that beside the area that you're desiring to change or transform, you see the difference in who and how you are being. In the area that you would like to change, there's probably weight, there's probably frustration, there's probably all of these things that you have to do to get ready and be prepared and be worthy of the experience. But over here, where you are experiencing abundance, there's nothing you have to do. It comes easy. You feel light around it. You feel free in and around that idea. And those are the difference. You have evidence over and over again of this side of the equation being easy and effortless, while you have been conditioned to the evidence of it being difficult and hard and heavy and all of these things, which is most of your idea around money and resources. It's difficult, it's hard, it's heavy, you have frustration, sometimes guilt, shame. If you have religious ideas that tied to if you're wealthy or rich, it's difficult to be successful spiritually. There's something wrong with it, there's something dirty about it. All of these things separate you from something that is of huge benefit to you to have on your plane of existence. There's some mystical point where if you have too much of it, all of a sudden you're not a good person. All of these ideas keep you separate from it, even though you're striving so hard for it, even though you're being told you need to work for it. But it all has to do with belief. And it's completely pure potential that has nothing to do, that no one else is responsible for the alignment with it but you. It all is on the inside. And again, when you begin to focus on this idea in the highest frequency, from a high frequency perspective, preferably from the truth of you in source's perspective, if you understand that idea, you begin to see and unravel all of the conflict. You begin to see and unravel all that separates you. All of the ideas, all of the conditioning, what your family has given you, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, their lives, all of the beliefs that you have taken on from childhood in a certain area, in that area, and how these ideas Many are born of fear, born of insecurity, that are separating you from that which you see in as possible and desire at this moment. Source has no boundary, no limitation. Source has no beginning and no end. And you are that. Source is infinite in its ability to supply. And it's always doing it. Your planet is always renewing and refreshing itself. Everything left untouched in a negative way by humanity exists in an abundant state, in an exponentially multiplied state. The seed of an apple holds the potential for an entire orchard and beyond. Multiplied, multiplied, multiplied exponentially. And that's who you are. But right now, your beliefs, your dominant ideas separate you from that experience. When you become firmly rooted in that experience, you don't have to try so hard. There's no grand effort that you have to make. There's nothing that you have to be. There's nothing that you have to do, because your pure state of being is connected to it and allows the flow to and through you. Now, will you be inspired to do things? Yes. That align you with it? Yes. But it's not the work that you're accustomed to knowing. Where you stand right now in this idea purely has to do with your beliefs, your dominant ideas. Where you stand right now with this idea purely has to do with how you feel predominantly around the idea of resources and money. Benny is seeing blatantly and plainly how he can meditate, he can have intention, he can purely feel the feel and flow of abundance. He can establish himself in that flow when he's in his meditative state, or when he takes enough time to focus on it. He does that with ease now, right? A lot of those ideas he does with ease now. But when he's in a store and he sees something that he would like to get, or he sees something that he would like to give someone, and he has to look at the price tag, and it causes him to feel a certain way because he has to consider other ideas before he can act on his inspiration, it takes him out of alignment. When financial obligations show up consistently, each of you have financial obligations that show up on a weekly or a monthly basis that you have to take care of. And when those show up and you have to consider the resources that are available to you at the moment, and you get frustrated, or you feel guilt or shame for being in that position still, even though you're inspired to be an entrepreneur, even though you're doing all the things, even though you're working hard, but you're still in that position after all of these years, and you feel that frustration or that anger or that guilt or that shame, or even if it's a low hum, it's not big, but it's low, that is separating you from the idea, from alignment, taking you out of alignment with the truth of you in source as it relates to abundance. So now you have these ideas that show up every month that remind you of the abundance of lack and scarcity that you're experiencing, and they cause you to feel that way, out of alignment. And often you know those obligations are coming. You know that letter's coming in the mail. You get that email about it's almost the due date. And so when the day's coming up to it, you're already thinking and feeling about it. And then in the days after, you're always thinking and feeling about it. And there's not one, there's many, right? You have many financial obligations that have to be taken care of, and they don't care what your abundance or lack of abundance experience is. They're coming anyway. They're expecting anyway. And nobody's feeling the weight except for you. Nobody's feeling that squeeze except for you. Nobody's feeling the out of controlness or the absence of freedom except for you. And all of that is out of alignment with the truth of you in source that is expansive, exponentially multiplying abundance. So with that, there's an answer. There's an answer that you have to play and practice with that has been realized. In those circumstances, when it's time for those obligations, when they show up, even when ones that show up that are unannounced, you have to situate yourself in the feeling of abundance anyway. Do what you can do at the moment, but focus and be in alignment with the truth of abundance and excess. In those situations, you have to begin to shift the energy around your current circumstance. And that's where appreciation comes in. That's where gratitude comes in. Yes, this is where I am right now. Yes, I know I'm exploding through it because I feel myself expanding because of my understanding now of abundance and its truth. My truth in source is that is seen out in nature, multiplying exponentially, always present, always available. That is who I am. I understand that. And I am building the momentum to allow that more and more to flow to and through me. But this is my current circumstance, and I'm grateful for it. Because if it wasn't for this circumstance, I wouldn't be looking to grow and expand. So you are giving the circumstance acceptance. You're accepting it. You're appreciating it. You're moving into gratitude for it. You move into the excitement of knowing that you're growing beyond it. And you're more and more establishing yourself in alignment with abundance by feeling the truth of abundance. Just look outside and see the abundance of leaves, the abundance of trees, the abundance of grasses, the abundance of cars, the abundance of houses, the abundance of animals, the abundance of birds, the abundance of air, the abundance of the oceans and the waters. These are not abundance. These are evidence of the flow of abundance that yields them. These are evidence of the constant flow of abundance that yields the physical expression that you can perceive through your senses. That's constantly available for you. That is you. Again, because you are experiencing abundance in multiple ways in your life. And the feel of abundance is in those circumstances. If you take a moment and identify, understanding that the process is the same. Process is the same. You're not separate. You just believe yourself to be. And because you believe yourself to be, your experience has taken that information, taken that focus, taken where you have your attention, and created that experience. But now you know. And you know how to make the necessary shifts and adjustments. And once the momentum is created, the experience has to change. Now, it's a matter of consistency. It's a matter of making it a priority for a period of time. It's a matter of beginning to be aware of the abundance that's all around you, the abundance that you're experiencing in your life, right in your home, abundance of clothes possibly, an abundance of food possibly. What's the process that is creating these experiences that you haven't noticed at the moment to this point? If you are here, again, thank you for supporting us in the creation of this interaction. We had ideas, but we also took ideas from you. If you found this recording, we're thankful for you allowing us to be of support. If you have any questions or comments at this moment, we will take a few moments to talk about those. Just throw them in the chat. Thank you. Hello, hello, everyone. Everyone that's saying hi. Awesome. Thank you for being here. Let's see what we've got going on. Let's scroll down. Let's see. Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Awesome, awesome. If anyone has any comments or questions, throw them in there. Seeing the abundance in nature and knowing we are that too. Excellent. That's the truth. And when you see abundance in nature, Trudy, focus on it and identify the feeling. Identify the feeling. And whatever you notice, if you're taking a moment to notice the abundance, a form of abundance, because there's so much abundance present in nature and it's constant. When you notice a form of abundance and you're trying to cultivate that feeling, it's the feeling that you're seeking, right? And we spoke on this, we think, last week about the feeling. Understand that the feeling of a thing is not being placed inside of you. The abundance of flowers, or the abundance of butterflies, the abundance of insects, the abundance of bugs, the abundance of grasses, they're not placing that feeling of abundance. Once you sit there and you or be with it long enough to feel the feeling of abundance that you're holding, they're not placing that feeling inside of you. The feeling is already there. It's already you. It's already a part of you. That's what lets you know that the things that you desire to have an abundance of is accessible. Because the feeling of the thing, if you're holding the image, or the image that your inner being gives you, if you understand that, if you hold the image of what your inner being gives you based on the idea that you're desiring to see and experience an abundance of, and you have identified the feeling of abundance as it stands for you, when you put those two together, you begin creating the momentum toward it. And simultaneously, when you begin creating the momentum toward it, the first thing you begin to see and become aware of is that which is in conflict with it, that is inside of you, because the feeling of abundance and the vibrational expression that you begin to express based on that, you begin to emit and resonate based on that establishment, is in direct conflict to the ideas that you have held to this point. And they just don't disappear, right? It's like you're heating up water. And when it gets to the boiling point, the bubbles start to come to the top. Well, when you shift an idea, you shift your vibrational expression. Ideas that are in conflict with that vibrational expression, ideas that were born of lower vibration in relationship to that idea, when you change that feeling state, right? Because the feeling state of abundance is a higher, faster energy than the feeling state of an abundance of lack and scarcity. They're different. So when you start holding this expression of energy, of frequency, these ideas, the beliefs, the ideas that you've been holding that are holding the abundance of lack and scarcity in place, they begin to come to the surface. They begin to come up into your conscious awareness. And that's where you use your play and practice to recognize them, accept them, understand them, get the information from them there. That's empowering also. Understand them and then release them. And say, thank you. So I'm taking this energy, this magnificent energy that has been holding me in this position. I'm now redirecting this energy into the position where that supports me in holding my attention and my focus on this idea that I am now creating momentum for. Thank you. That's what you say to it. And in your acceptance, in your gratitude, you're even more so holding and entertaining old patterns in a higher frequency, which begins to distort and to break up and all of those things. But then if you have a process to actually release, You do that as well in gratitude. Does that make sense? We hope that makes sense. And anyone else, if you have any comments or questions, throw them in the chat. We'll give just a few more minutes, a few more moments. Excellent. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. All right. So once again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Each one who has participated with their energy. Thank you again to those of you who have found this recording and allowed us to be of support in that manner. Again, if you're new, connect with us. If you're not new and you haven't engaged with us on a higher level, check the description on how you can do that. And we will be back tomorrow. Thank you very much. We love you very much. And we will talk to you soon.